What up, though? Nathan Ray coming at you with the meeting after the meeting. Step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry the message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Spiritual awakening. So we read out of the 12 and 12, and we read step 12. And one part that stood out to me, and it was talking about I have a degree in honesty, unselfishness, love, and a few more of the spiritual principles. And when I heard that, it was like, oh my God, like, that's me. Like, I practice those spiritual principles. Like, I live those spiritual principles. And I wasn't the only one, because someone else shared, and that's the part of the book, the story, the chapter that stood out to them the most as well. And it was like, oh my God, like, we got more in common than what I think. It's amazing, because I truly believe, like, my spirit has been awakening. I can remember me and my wife, we went to get a loan, and, you know, we were talking to the banker, and, you know, she pulled up my credit report, and she was asking me, like, well, what is this energy company that you owe money to in Buffalo, New York? And I was like, oh, that's when I was drinking and drugging. Who knows? I don't know what I did, you know? And she was like, no way. Like, ain't no way you was, like, addicted to drugs and alcohol. And I'm like, yeah, I was on drugs and alcohol. And she like, ain't no way. And then my wife's like, yeah, he was pretty bad off, you know. And she was like, just ain't no way. And it was amazing to me that the disease of addiction no longer shows up on me. You can't look at Nathan and say, oh yeah, he got a problem with drinking and drugging. And for me, that was a spiritual awakening. I got a friend, and he would always send me pictures of the sky. And I'm like, what's wrong with this dude? Like, why are you sending me pictures of the sky? And he's like, yeah, the sky is beautiful. This is God's creation. And I'm like, dude, like, stop sending me pictures of the sky. Like, it ain't all that, you know? Until one day, I looked up and I was like, oh my God. The God of my understanding has painted me this beautiful picture, and the sky is beautiful. Like, I get it now. You know, and it was like my spirit had been awakened to all the beauty that has been created, you know, and from that point on, it's like I start appreciating everything. You know, I used to get mad and sad and depressed when it rained. Now I can appreciate the rain and say, hey, it's raining, and it's gonna help the trees and the grass grow. And the grass and the grass is so beautiful, and it's that perfect shade of green. The trees are so beautiful, and it has the leaves on it, and it's growing little berries and seeds, and the birds fly through them and build nests. And it was like I just had this greater appreciation for all of God's creations. And for me, that was a spiritual awakening. They went on to go and talk about two-stepping. First time I ever heard about two-stepping. And two-stepping is when you pick and choose what steps you want to work. And that's me all day. I never really worked all 12 steps. I always picked and choose which steps I wanted to work with a sponsor. And I had been two-stepping and didn't even know it. One thing that I do, though, is I do practice spiritual principles in all my affairs. And some may ask, and some may leave comments and say, well, how can you practice spiritual principles and you don't work steps? Well, the spiritual principles is what's behind the steps. Like, you work the steps and they lead you to the spiritual principles. So I have more than one program of recovery that I work. You know, I work a religious program too that talks about these same spiritual principles that they do in the 12-step meeting. So not only do I read them in the in 12-step materials, I read them in the big book, as one of my friends would say. And I apply it to my life. You know, I apply it to my life and all my affairs, you know, and I carry the message of recovery everywhere I go. So yeah, meeting after the meeting, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Peace.